So, I hear you like mine lineups. Well, ask and you shall receive. I've invented about a dozen and used them to get back to Grandmaster while literally only playing Peni. This video will be going over these mine lineups, map-specific strategies, and some hero matchups. Basically everything I couldn't fit into the last video. Also, all the mine lineups you're about to see will be shown together near the end of the video for you to reference while you're in game. What's a mine lineup? So glad you asked. A mine lineup is where you stand in a specific spot, let's say here, aim at a specific point, let's say right next to this star, and shoot your specific mines. The end result is death's sweet release for this rocket. One thing though, they are much more effective on attack, and as such, every lineup you're about to see is for when you're on attack. A quick explanation for this is when defending, the enemies are coming to you, and thus your mines. When attacking, the enemy team won't come to you, so you send the mines to them. I'd say the best part about them is that they don't require any skill, you're just shooting the sky. Before we start, I highly recommend you go into your settings and change your reticle, since the default one makes it harder to line up. While there, also change your cyber bond sensitivity to as low as possible. You'll thank me later. Now I just realized I have to try to correctly pronounce every map name, so let's start with an easy one. Symbiotic Surface. For the first lineup, run over to this tiny pillar, find this big star, go directly down to these two stars, and aim in the middle of both while lining up vertically with the left star. Do all that, and you're practically guaranteed a kill. The second point doesn't have one, because, ceiling, so we're going to skip to the third point. This point kind of sucks, because of the weird giant mushroom tree thing. That being said, there is one for their spawn. Run into this little crevice thing here, and aim here on the weird skull thing. Now, how to play this map on attack. Take the high ground, or die trying.
Mankind knew that they cannot change society. So instead of reflecting on themselves, they blamed the beasts, heaven or hell. Duel 1. Let's rock!
Trust me when I say this tactic usually works a little too well. The enemy team starts going crazy while you're up there. By the way, do not do any of these flanking strats if you are the only tank, since you'll be forced to frontline, which is not Peni's strong suit. On the third point, you can do a little alcove gaming. Not as strong as point 1, but it still gives your team a safe spot to recover.
Why are you running? Man, shut so. Oh!
Next up is Yggdrasill Path. I hate my life. Go to the right spawn door and get in this corner. Then aim where the branches split here, and go directly up to the top of the branch. Also, don't forget to move forward a bit. And they just disintegrated. There's actually an invisible ceiling on this map, so no lineups. Well, might as well move on to the next map. Yggdrasill Path. I hate my life. Your mines will land here for your free kills. Confused? You should be. I was too. Fortunately, I figured this out. There's only an invisible ceiling for the quick match version of the map, and not the competitive version. Oh, you didn't know there was a difference? Try spending hours in custom matches making these lineups, and you'll begin to notice a few. There's only one other map like this, and we'll get to that later. For now, let's get to point 2. Get on the center of this water fountain thing and aim right where these branches split, while going up to the top of the top branch. The mines will land about here. The playstyle for this map on attack can be summed up in 2 words: spawn camping. Works wonders for the second point, as you can cover both spawn doors with your nest. It also works amazingly for the third point, as I can actually count on one hand the amount of times I've seen someone not use this spawn door. Also, the enemies are like fish in a barrel, because this hallway isn't actually a safe area. Next up, we got good old easy to pronounce Spider Islands. For the first point, run over to this sign, and using this line as a guide, go about this far out. The mines will land here. This one is probably the worst one I invented, as the enemy team can and will shoot you during it, but it still works really good. For the second point, I have a confession to make. I stole these lineups from another Peni main named Primo, so go check out his channel if you want some more Peni content. Next up, let's go with a fun one, Birnin T'Challa. It's up to RNG if you can actually use this one, since this map is actually 3 maps and only one has a lineup. Furthermore, this is a team-specific lineup. Only the left-sided team can do it. So what you do is you run out to this back corner and aim at this little rock curve line. The mines will land here. Also, this is the first lineup with actual counterplay, as I found out the hard way. Groot can wall you out of your own spawn, so be careful of that. This will lead to very awkward encounters. Speaking of which, let's go over some matchup-specific tech. In my last guide, I talked about how you can make Doctor Strange hate his life by literally preventing him from ulting for an entire round. Well, let's make Doctor Strange mains hate us even more by introducing you to portal canceling. If you stun Doctor Strange while he is placing a portal, it will be cancelled, and it will be put on cooldown. This is my new favorite thing to do as Peni. His voice line is like a dinner bell to me now, and I can't help but throw myself at him whenever I hear it. On the topic of canceling things, might as well talk about some ultimates. Punisher ult can't be cancelled, but he can be killed. Same thing goes for Cloak and Dagger and Luna Snow ults, but they heal, so it's much harder to kill them. However, Peni is one of the few who actually can. You just have to be smart with your mine traps. For Cloak, it is kind of luck, because she has to enter dash on your mine trap, but Luna is a different story. Another ult Peni can counter is Hela's. When you see a Hela ult, if you can manage to set up a mine trap beneath her, it is a guaranteed kill. So, Spider-Man likes to pull tanks off to their doom. Fortunately, Peni is basically immune to this. Don't panic, and use your tether and wall crawl to save yourself. If he keeps going for it, you can stun him to his death. Next up is Venom. I think this is one of Peni's best matchups, and I'll explain why. Venom has an ability that gives him bonus health based on missing health, which they will wait to use until they get low on HP. Well, Venom can't use this ability if he's stunned, so wait until he gets low, then use your stun and try to kill him quick with your team before he can shield. Now, let's talk about Hulk. Hulk has to charge his long jump. He loses all charge if you stun him though, so wait a little after you see him jump to stun him and ruin the charge for his next jump. He's practically dead after that. Also, Silent Hulk can target your nest for some reason. Lastly, before we get back to the lineups, this just in. New Peni tech. I repeat, new Peni tech has just dropped. The simpler of the two is, you can make your mines invisible in a wall if you put your right shoulder in the wall and shoot. The complicated one is you can extend your Cyberbond range if you shoot your Cyber Web Snare far away and Cyberbond to the ground at the exact same time as your Web Snare projectile hitting the environment. Also, there is a range limit. This is pretty hard to do consistently, but if you master it, I can already see the highlight reels. Now back to the lineups. Yggdrasill Royal Palace. Specifically, only one of the 3 maps, Bifrost Garden. There is one for each side. Also, only do them if you don't already have control of the point. If you're on this side, walk into this corner, then move forward slightly to avoid the mines hitting the wall, line up horizontally with this point, and line up vertically with this specific star. The mines will land here. If you're on the other side, get in the same position as last time, but line up horizontally with this point and line up vertically between these 2 stars. Your mines will land here. Next up, for Hall of Djalia, just watch this clip from one of my recent streams.
Mine lineup, here we go. Get in this corner, look straight up at this leaf, and go like a little up and to the right of it. And there they go. There they go, off into the world. Huh? What the fuck?
I seen that joint on YouTube. This man's crack. Hey, thanks for the carry.
3, 2, shit, you got lineups.
My teammates in the Psylocke here perfectly represent my favorite thing about mine lineups, and that is people's reactions. It's so funny watching the enemy team react to a lineup, like this Rocket actually doing a triple take here, trying to understand what happened. My favorite is this Winter Soldier literally turning around and switching to a healer after watching his team's Mantis die right in front of him. Next up, we got Shin-Shibuya. This is the only other map to have an invisible ceiling on the quick match version of the map and not the competitive version. I have 3 lineups for the first point, and this first one is the best. You exit out of the side spawn door and stand in the corner of this grass, and you aim where these things intersect. The mines will land here. This next one is situational. Leave the spawn room from upstairs and get on this electrical pole. Aim at where these blue lines go diagonal and go to the right edge of the building. The mines will land here. For the last one, go to the middle of this car and aim where the purple line comes out of this thing. The mines will land here. For the second point, stand on this corner and then using this corner on the wall, go straight up and aim directly at this tiny purple dot off of this line. The mines will land here. Before the last map, in the interest of preventing myself from jail time due to the last video, please listen to this proof. Peni is a known war criminal, and all war criminals are tried as adults. Therefore, Peni is an adult, and I'm not on a registry somewhere. The final map is Midtown. It is possible for a lineup on the first point, but it didn't seem worth it to me. So instead, I'll show you a funny strat. Go to this room right in front of the attacker spawn and hold on for dear life. It's so much fun, and the enemy team will hate you so much that the enemy Luna will ult 2 separate times just to kick you out. There is a good lineup for the last point though. Stand next to this ambulance with your left shoulder inside the mirror, then aim at this pillar and go up a little past the top of the building. Finally, the mines will land here. Well, that's all I got. I'm just going to briefly show most of the lineups here while I give some final thoughts. Mine lineups are definitely not how the developers intended for Peni to be played, so there is a chance that in the future they could patch all lineups out by putting invisible ceilings in every map. That would be sad, but I do believe it to be reasonable, as honestly, some of these lineups are blatantly overpowered. I'm sure there are plenty of more good lineups out there just waiting to be found, so why don't you go into a custom game and try to invent a few to call your own? I won't lie, it can sometimes take a while, but it feels extremely rewarding when you actually get a kill with it. If you really want to use these lineups, you'll probably want to save a picture or screenshot, as even though I invented most of these, I still have to use references for some of them. Thanks for watching. I can't believe how much support I got on the last video. I'm truly so grateful to you all. I read every comment on the last video, and you guys were so insanely supportive it didn't seem real. And here I was thinking the internet was a mean place. So for the future of this channel, I have no intentions of only making Marvel Rivals content. I'm not opposed to continuing my little terrible guide series, but I'm just a Peni one-trick with actually 100% playtime on Peni. I can't make a guide for another character when I literally don't know how to play any of the other ones. So there likely won't be a Marvel Rivals video for a while. Hopefully the next video I make will be on the not so newly released Factorio Space Age DLC, so I can finally get rid of the terabyte of Factorio gameplay footage I have saved. I say hopefully because my free and paid Patreon members will be deciding the next game I cover. Speaking of, I'd like to give a special thanks to my patrons, since I actually have some now. Also, I'd like to give a super special thanks to Abo, who became my first ever paid member. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching again, and I hope I managed to meet your expectations here.